What is the best compliment you've ever received? Thank you so much. This has been the best birthday I've had in the past 46 years of my life. When I hang out with you, I always end up laughing. Someone I had just met told me I was funny. It was the first time I ever got a non-superficial compliment. Nice clothes, shoes, etc. And being a very insecure teenager at the time, that one really stuck with me. I was sitting with my mother when my 5-year-old daughter came over screaming about something. I asked her what she was frustrated about, and then we talked it out and she walked away happy. My mom then said to me, "Wow, that was some good parenting." As an engineering student, we had to turn a chess piece on the lathe. One of the workshop staff was known for picking holes in every piece of work anyone ever produced. If there was a slight error anywhere, he'd find it. I'd just finished the component and this particular staff member happens to be checking it. He very carefully examined and measured it from end to end and then muttered the words, "It's all right," and walked off. Might not sound like much, but coming from him, best compliment ever. I helped an old lady step down a curb and then she couldn't find her car in the parking lot. Her husband parked it, so I helped her find it and walked her to it, and she said, "Your mother did a good job raising you." My mother passed away when I was young, so when she said that, I got back to my car and I lost it. Maybe you should ask her me for the answer. She's very smart. My crush from 7th grade English class. My dad using my song as his ringtone. From a very handsome British guy in his mid-20s at an incredibly conservative US college. "You know, you're a very good-looking guy." I'm straight, but it put a pep in my step for weeks, and I still remember it 14 years later. Once in public speaking class, one jokingly introduced myself in a speech with "I like the sound of my own voice," and the professor immediately shot back with "And so do we." As someone that struggled with feeling like what I have to say is worth hearing, that really stuck with me. A former boss said, "I like that you have a type B personality, but you get type A results." Nice ass. White boy, thanks. Terrifying lady on the New York subway. I told a joke and my sister laughed so hard she choked on her water and threw up all over herself. I must be a comedian. My wife is way out of my league. She gets a lot of compliments when we go out and guys always chat her up at bars, so I'm pretty used to it by now. So when we waiting on the subway platform and I hear a very loud DAAAMN from behind us, I just think, "Oh shit, here we go again." I look over and a very short, very gay Asian guy looks me up and down and says to my wife, then girlfriend at the time, "Girl, your boyfriend is fine." It was a nice change of pace and I was blushing for the rest of the day, since that never really happens to me. I'm a black man. If I were to describe by skin color, it'd be milk chocolate. One day my girlfriend said to me, "I have great skin and deep undertones." We were discussing about makeup and I didn't quite get what she meant by undertones, but damn did it make me smile. 2 compliments. One from my mom, who wasn't a very good mom. She was observing me interacting with my son and said, "You're a really good mom. You didn't learn it from me, and are doing better than I ever did." She never gives compliments. The other from my husband's grandma. She was the most amazing person I ever met. Accepted me from the beginning. Treated me more like family than my own family ever did. One Christmas, she gave me the ugliest necklace. It is gaudy, and definitely not something I would ever wear. She had a letter with it. The letter said that she knows it isn't my style, but that she got me the necklace because it was a replica of a Princess Diana necklace, and that she wanted me to know that I was her princess and always would be. No one ever called me a princess. I was the only one who got any sort of letter like that. I still cry about losing her. 12 years later, it breaks my heart that she and my son never got to meet each other. They would have loved each other so much. Being told that I'm the only kid who behaves in class, and that's how I got bullied and also wasted my life. Welcome to my TED Talk. The most meaningful compliment was offered just after a funeral service. The widow of the deceased came to see me at the organ console before proceeding to the cemetery. As I once noted, she said, "I just wanted to thank you for the uplifting music you played for my husband's funeral. It could have been a sad occasion, but instead your music turned it into a celebration of his life." Not long thereafter, a thank you note arrived, along with a substantial check to the church's music fund to pay for a concert, with orchestra, in his memory. I'm lucky to make out with such a handsome man. Woman I kissed that was very pretty. Seriously. This was 4 years ago. If you're a woman and you want to get a man to like you, make him a compliment. Men never get compliments, so he'll likely remember it forever. Someone recently told me that I have the power to move people, to make them feel special and as though they can move the world. Well, damn, that came out of nowhere and death made me feel so freaking high. Your handwriting is so neat that if you'd been born before the invention of the printing press, you would have been in charge of writing books. By far the most creative compliment I've received. Some girl started a trend at my school of telling me, specifically me, the very average looking guy, that I was super THICC or stuff like that about my ass. I get so many ass compliments now I just don't acknowledge them. Captain America wants to know your location. You're the best dad ever, from my 9-year-old daughter. That my son is a wonderful, kind man and I did an excellent job raising him. You look happier. The first time I got fan mail for one of my books, it wasn't anything special, just someone saying they really liked it and that it made them smile, but the fact that someone went out of their way to tell me they liked my stuff was the best goddamn feeling. That was a perfect presentation from an executive. I was presenting to a Korean company about America's drug culture. It was mostly about history, like the historical factors that led to the prohibition of alcohol, and was kind of a stealth weed legalization pitch. That I look like Shrek from Shrek 2 when he goes human. Few weeks ago I had a chick say, "Damn, you're looking fine." It was a person I worked with last year that I haven't seen in a year. I had decent steady gym progress and put on some muscle size and definition, and looks like she noticed. I hope my daughter grows up to be like you. I've been told this by several teachers throughout the years and it always meant a lot to me. Before the football season my senior year of high school, the coaches and seniors gathered for an annual meeting. During this meeting, expectations for the upcoming season are discussed. About halfway through, one of our coaches started talking about leadership. Before I go on, let me give some backstory. This coach is a former NFL star who I look up to and hold in a high regard. He taught me life lessons that I carry with me today. The team I played for was one of the best in the country at the time, and we were fresh off of our best season. I was an undersized bench player who didn't look like your typical football player. I had to fight for respect and earn my spot on the team. Tons of people doubted me, and many of them believed I wouldn't last my first year playing, let alone make it to senior year. I understand football is just a game, but I put my heart and soul into it when very few believed I could. So when my coach began to speak about leadership, we were all expecting a story about his playing days or a metaphor about life. He was very well spoken and respected, so we were listening intently. He said that, throughout his career, there were two players that he loved coaching. The first guy he named came as no surprise to anyone. I'll call him Pound. Pound was a star linebacker that was known for his incredible work ethic and unmatched heart. When Coach got finished with his speech of Pound and his leadership, he started to move on to the second player. I was shocked when he said my name, and I honestly had to hold back tears. My coach compared me to Pound and other players he believed exemplified leadership. After all of the shit I went through to get to that point, his praise validated everything. I credit that moment and those people as being the reason I have the success I have had. It may not mean a lot to you guys, but it was the best thing I have ever heard. From my very Catholic ex, it's too tempting to sin around you. Your humor is wasted on most people. My girlfriend once told me she didn't know she could ever find anyone better. I don't know if it's the best compliment I've ever gotten, but it's up there. A friend once told me it is a pleasure to know me and that I am the type of friend everyone deserves to have. That one meant a lot. Hit me right in the feels. I'll kill you last. Because that joke was actually pretty funny. I was once told that I'd be the first one killed, to save me all the pain and anguish. I kindly thanked him and phased him completely out of my life. You're beautiful from my boyfriend when I was sick, sneezing my head off and being super gross. Something about hearing that when you don't feel so beautiful at that moment. I put on a long flowered summer dress and then was looking at myself in the mirror when my son, who was 5 years old at the time, said, "Mama, are you a princess?" You're a great man, a disabled homeless man's friend after I pushed his friend up a small hill to the corner store. The one and only compliment I can remember off the top of my head. I shaved my head bald and a goth chick said, "Nice haircut, dude." I just told the music minister at our church that I was pregnant. She was so excited for me and she said, "I'm so happy for the world," made me cry a bit. I was told that I have that dad bod going on, which is pretty exciting compared to what I used to have going on. My best friend was playing guitar and I was singing some of our favorite songs. He stops and says, "You really should sing more. You sound great." Best friend is now my partner. Spouse told me the reason I take bad pictures is I have a moving face and I don't look ugly IRL like my pictures make me look. This has made me feel better about pretty much every bad pic I take. I'm not ugly, but damn am I ever ugly in pictures most of the time. That's a nice face driving through lady working at Starbucks drive-thru after she hands me my drink. A ballet costume designer said that I was very handsome, given that she's around very graceful male dancers who are in excellent shape all the time. It was quite flattering. I'm a good father. You have an unfair advantage with that voice. Me and a friend of mine, who's now doing a residency to become a children's psychiatrist, were in the middle of a hike, when he asked me if I wanted to have children. The question came a bit out of the blue, but I responded, "Yes, I would love to have children," when my friend said, "I think you'll be a good father." Till this day it's the best compliment I've ever had and one I will remember the rest of my life. It came somewhat out of the blue and it really struck me in the middle of that hike. My ex-girlfriend once passed out from an orgasm while we had sex. First I was worried, but after she woke up and said she was fine and it was the longest orgasm she ever had, I was proud. No, I'm still proud. Mysa when she compliments my eyes and how she can stare into them for hours, always confused me and made my day cause I have brown eyes. The 8-year-old my sister has nannied for 4 years now once told me, "I think you're as great as pizza is to the Ninja Turtles." I will never receive a better compliment in my life. You are literally a gay man's wet dream. Wow, I love your photographs. Why don't you sell them? A blogger that I worked with, I just like to take pictures on my phone and post them on Instagram. I really appreciated it that she likes them that much. When I was in the 2nd grade we had this poetry writing assignment that our teacher ended up putting together into a little class booklet. I wrote a couple of poems, but one of them called "There's a Bear in My Hair" really caught my teacher's attention. He pulled me aside after class one day and told me that he really liked it and wanted to enter it into this national poetry competition where it could end up in a book and I could get some scholarship money for college. It didn't win, but having a teacher compliment my writing and encourage me like that was a huge push for me wanting to become a writer. Here is the poem in case anyone wants to read it. It's pretty dumb and weird, but I still think it's kind of cool to this day. Someone recently said my short story reminded them of Kerouac. I just about died and went to heaven. A girl who has been my friend since we were 7 and I still have a crush on told me I have perfect cheekbones and perfect skin complexion. We're in our mid-20s and I still don't know how to tell her I like her. My fiancé told me I was the least judgmental person he knows. It was kind of an offhand comment but like, I've never felt as good as I did when he said that.